it's you make the right character for the world and the right world for the character, and that Fetch really wouldn't be. You couldn't pluck him out and put him in a different story, in a different world, because all the richness of his experience comes through the with the fact he is in a world that has recently lost its magic, that he is partly responsible for and feels personally very responsible for. And so that's going to taint his experience with everyone else. It's a reason, and because that hits that kind of dark, there's such a dark romantic quality to that everywhere he looks, so it's a reason to also get away with those kind of noirish descriptions, because
Mm.
it's always got like, well, why does this character care about this stuff? And like for him, it's like, oh, he'll go into detail about describing the way things were because he remembers how affecting it was for him when he first walked into Sunder City. He didn't know magic existed. He escapes from his walled off city, and he remembers in his defining time as a young man, how incredible it was to see all this in its heyday, and now all the shine's taken off everything, and
Mm.
he sees his own guilt reflected back. So the world and Fetch is so intertwined that in my mind, then every bit of description becomes revealing about his character, and vice versa. Everything he does, and the plot, the character, the world building is all together, and so at that point, kind of whatever seems interesting to write about feels like it's going to serve multiple things. And so, um, and then, it is interesting as you go, because it's funny, you can want to do certain things. And at a certain point, Fetch does have his own stuff and his things that he struggles with. And he needs to, he's not going to do, he's not going to be the man that he wishes he could be. He's not going to react in the ways that he wishes he could. His emotions are going to get the better of him. His, traumas are going to influence the way he reacts to stuff. He's going to, I mean, we all know what it's like to be in situations that have a voice in your head telling you to act a certain way or do something, and you just can't, because, we can't always be who we hope we are, which is a huge thing for Fetch. And
Exactly.
it's interesting you say about the other, the secondary characters as well. It's been one of the tough things with Fetch that I think, one of the things, if you don't like yourself, it can be very hard to build strong connections and true connections
Yeah.
with other people, because, you're just always going, well, why would they like you? It's hard to think of anyone being your real friend, because you're like, well, why would they like me? Because I'm obviously the piece of shit who broke the world and can't seem to get anything right. And so,
But then it's just this like positive, in parentheses, air
yeah,
quotes, negative feedback loop where it's just like, I think I'm a piece of shit, so why would anybody like me? And then everyone else is just like, he thinks he's a piece of shit. I don't like that. And then nobody wants to hang out with you.
Exactly. And I think, and so that's the thing where with Fetch, you go like you have all these secondary characters, and you see some of them who kind of really care for him or have these, and obviously see him as his own worst enemy, as I imagine a lot of readers do. And he is. And so that it's interesting building this cast of characters, but knowing our protagonist is kind of hamstrung by those,
Mm.
his connection to his guilt and his own self-loathing, which is another form of self-obsession, the same as narcissism or anything like that. And so, yeah, you've kind of got this dying fantasy world, and this kind of dangling quest there of like, but could we go turn the magic back? But what's really going on is it's all inside Fetch and his personal journey of going like,
Mhm.
okay, what have you got to sort out in yourself so you can actually be a good force for the people struggling with what they're struggling with here. And